Sometimes the best metal moments don't punch you in the face. They pull the floor out from under you. These are the riffs that blindside you, confuse you, or just stop you in your tracks. And that's exactly why they stick. These first two songs shift from metal to blues without giving you whiplash. Blood Incantation is a Colorado death metal band, and they mix raw old school aggression with atmospheric spacey vibes. Their album Absolute Elsewhere is what sparked this list. If you haven't heard it, do yourself a favor and check it out. The opener, The Stargate, runs about 20 minutes. That shifts from brutal death metal into these bluesy, spacey sections that feels like it's from another world. It's smooth, emotional, and somehow it fits perfectly. That Pink Floyd style section and groove just hits so hard. And the fact that it lives on a death metal record makes it that much cooler. It's a breath of fresh air to see a band lean into what they fully love and incorporate it into their music. And what makes it work is the breathing room. Yeah, the death metal part comes to a sudden stop, but the way they build up the bluesy section I think really makes it work. They don't just jump into this next section, they build it brick by brick. And I think that makes the emotions hit even harder. And then the solo section is the massive payoff for this. And they have so many more moments like this on this album. So if you haven't checked it out yet, their whole album is called Absolute Elsewhere. It's 2 tracks, but it's really good. Naturally, after thinking about what other songs would hit the same vibe as The Stargate, I thought of Orion. Metallica pulled off a similar move on Master of Puppets in 1986, going from a heavy, driving metal section into a spacey, ethereal, bluesy section. And again, melding these two sections together just works because it's allowed to breathe. Metallica's metal part comes to a more gradual stop, and then they build up that next section with a lot of space and time, but it's the same vibes. And I think everyone will agree with me in saying that Cliff really makes this section work. He does a lot of work with his bass melodies to give it that really spacey feel. And then the 2 guitar harmonies on top of that just really put the icing on the cake. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that middle section harmony is a top 3 harmony for me of all time. It's built on a handful of notes, and it's a really simple run, but man does it just emotionally hit every time. And how they keep restructuring that main motif rhythmically, I think really makes this part stand out. It's stuck with me ever since that first time hearing it, and I just keep coming back to this part. So, I definitely had to include Orion on this list. While those bluesy detours let metal breathe and float, sometimes the emotional impact hits even harder when everything's stripped down to its barest form, bringing us to the next category of acoustic gut punches. Stuff that just lands in the middle of relentless metal records. And the first song that came to mind under this category is Pouring Rain by As Blood Runs Black. And man, where the song lands on the album is like immediate whiplash. As Blood Runs Black's debut doesn't hold back. Like a lot of bands in the early 2000s, it mixes melodic death metal with hardcore breakdowns. And what's interesting about this band is it lands somewhere between deathcore and metalcore, especially on tracks like My Fears Have Become Phobias. And this whole album is pretty aggressive and non-stop until you hit track number 5. And then suddenly, you're hit with a somber and clean instrumental track. And if you know my preference for Metallica songs like Fade to Black or Welcome Home, this one piqued my interest immediately. What's really impressed me is how developed it is. The dual guitar parts, the bass work, it's all layered very perfectly. And keep in mind, this was their debut, and they all look like a bunch of really young kids in their album promos. And still, they were able to write this really beautiful piece really early into their career, which just makes it feel so out of place on this unrelenting deathcore record. And on top of all that, it's an instrumental, so there's no vocal parts to lean on. They had to make it entirely interesting off of the instruments that were playing, and I think they pulled it off. If you haven't before, please go check out Pouring Rain from As Blood Runs Black. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, and you want to help me to continue to make videos like this, please go check out my Patreon, my YouTube membership. On both, you get early access to videos, behind the scenes content, Q&A videos, and you get discounts on the guitar tones that I offer in my Patreon store. So if you enjoy what I'm doing and you want to support me, please go check those out. Then I just want to give a big shout out to ToneDeck. They've been with me since day one. If you're a guitarist and you love playing along with your favorite bands using the guitar tones that they have on the album, ToneDeck offers the best tone-matched ad-liars in the game. And you can get a discount with my code below. So please go check them out, because I know I love using their shit. Now back to the video. Warbringer's Behind the Veils of Night also captures a similar mood. If you've been on my channel before, you know how much I love Warbringer, and they've done a similar thing to Pouring Rain, but with a thrash setting. Again, this beautiful, somber, clean track is in the middle of an unrelenting metal record. And I love that the song starts with beautiful clean guitars, but also incorporates other instruments like a piano part. I think there's even some more stringed instruments in the background as well. And I love how the instruments weave into each other and play around each other. There's like a call and response feel to everything. And I also love that the song has a main motif that's played throughout and is changed rhythmically to keep it interesting. It's not as somber as Pouring Rain, but it's refreshing, and I love its classically influenced song structures. What really gets me the most is just how well written it is. They clearly know how to write delicate acoustic pieces, but they also have a really big affinity for heavy pieces. And I love when musicians can really show their range. After those acoustic moments hit you right in the chest, sometimes bands take a completely different route, dropping grooves and unexpected twists that make you wonder what the fuck is going on.
What the fuck is going on?
And that brings us into our final category of what the fuck moments. For this last part, I found some of my favorite genre-bending moments in the middle of metal songs. Kind of like the bluesy stuff, but a little bit more way out there for metal bands. And the first song is Majoring in the Minors by August Burns Red. If you don't know August Burns Red, they are a metalcore band that formed in 2003 in Lancaster, PA. Again, kind of similar to As Blood Runs Black, they blend melodic death metal and hardcore elements, but they definitely lean more into the metalcore side, and they definitely have a lot of creative moments. On their 7th album, Found in Faraway Places, they pull off one of their best tonal shifts in the track Majoring in the Minors. The song mostly follows a pretty straightforward metalcore path, until out of nowhere they drop a country western part. It works well because the shift isn't abrupt. They slow the song down and then build it up in pace and layers until they get into a full country western part. From there, they bring it back into the metalcore sound really smoothly by building intensity through all the guitar parts. It's a cool, fascinating part, and I always love figuring out how they blended it into the song so seamlessly. This next one might be the most unorthodox one on this list. It is
Lala Suzul
by Rings of Saturn, because I'm not even fucking trying to pronounce that one. The intro for the song really just throws you for a loop. If you know Rings of Saturn, they are a sci-fi based technical deathcore themed band that's gone through a lot of controversies, but in the early days they created a lot of cool shit. And what's so cool about this intro is it's not the usual Rings of Saturn thing you'd expect. It's a bright, clean guitar part which contrasts with their usual style. But as the intro goes on, they start to build it up into that more chaotic riffage that we know them for. They make it more dissonant as it goes on, and then make it distorted, and it just has a really cool, weird vibe that fits them totally. I wouldn't say this part is as inspiring as the other parts on this list, but man is it just fascinating. It's not something I've ever really heard from a deathcore band, so it's always just stuck out to me. And because of that, I had to include it here. Lastly, we have Dismantle the Dictator by Revocation. Revocation is a technical death metal / thrash band from Massachusetts. I believe they formed in the early 2000s, and man did I love to include a lot of jazz and classical elements into their music. And the outro to this song is one of the best examples of that. Dave Davidson, the vocalist and lead guitarist of the band, I know that he loves a lot of classical and jazz guitar, so it only makes sense that he would incorporate it into his music. And what really sets this part, and the entire song honestly, apart, is that all the transitions aren't abrupt. They are very seamless, and they keep the pace up without breaking everything down. And it just feels like one unrelenting song all the way throughout. They don't slow it down and build it back up like the other bands do. They just keep going and going and going, musical part after musical part. I think that's really cool. You barely have time to process what's happening, and then they're on to the next part. And that unrelenting pace makes the jazzy, almost surf rock outro hit even harder. It's chaotic, surprising, and insanely fun all at once. So that was 7 unexpected guitar parts in metal songs. What did you guys think of the list? Do you have any that you would switch into that? Let me know down in the comments. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you would, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you enjoy what I'm doing, please do subscribe, like, comment. You don't have to, but it helps a ton. Then, if you enjoyed this video, I want you to check out this one right here. I ranked all Metallica's opening tracks, gave some of my own personal, controversial opinions that some people don't agree with, but fuck it, I really don't care. So if you enjoyed this video, I think you might enjoy that one. Again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Stay metal. Peace.